Gas presents Sports for the Culture podcast. As usual, last week we had a great episode. If you missed it, we went through the ending of the Jordan doc, Nelly versus Luda, affirmative action, and the NFL. There's an article up on that right now. Check it out. Also, the segment's up there too, right? But I'm gonna jump right in, man. I'm T Boogie. I'm your host for today. Twitter, IG, follow me. We got a good podcast for you this week. And top left, introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. Scruff Lion, GoodAssSports. Y'all know what time it is. Ready to rumble. Y'all know what time it is. Favorite show in the world right now.
Top right. Let's get hit.
At Bryce XXV double I. Y'all know what it is, man. Sports for the culture is the takeover. Power to the people.
Yes, sir. No question. Bottom left is on you, baby.
Hey, it's Demon over at Goo. You can follow me on Insta. But right now, I'd like to take a moment of silence for George Floyd, for the police brutality that we just got to witness over the weekend. Let's take this moment of silence, fellas. All right, whenever you guys are ready to go, man. We'll start the show.
Yes, sir. That's an important moment of silence, man. Rest in peace to everyone that's lost their life to police brutality. He's not the first. Hopefully, he is the last. But let's jump back into some of the biggest news of the day. We got in the NBA. So the NBA is talking about restarting the league. Hopefully, July, August at the latest. There's potential options in play. Orlando, Vegas. I think the league's leaning Orlando right now. They're surveying players. They're reaching out, talking to the Players Association, trying to get a feel. There's a lot of guys that really want to start back up right now. Some of the big names, some of your favorites, LeBron, Kawhi, Giannis, those type of guys. There's other guys like Lillard that said if there's no playoffs, he's not playing. The league's throwing out a variety of options, just trying to get this thing started. So what do you guys think? What have you guys been hearing? Let's start with Scruff.
Well, honestly, I've been hearing a lot of. I've been hearing that it's overwhelmingly that the teams want to play. I mean, have heard some teams that don't want to play, and I have heard about teams that don't want to play unless it's competitive. And I agree. I don't think if your team is out of contention, I really don't see any reason for you to be coming back and risking your players, them getting hurt or anything like that. So I think it makes sense. If you're a bad team, there's no reason why you should come back. But I'd like to see them mix it up, make it interesting, get things competitive. Maybe do a little play-in tournament. I like the ideas of that.
Okay, it's a good point. Bryce, what you think?
Well, yeah, I'm on the same board as Scruff, man. I think that it's gonna get interesting for one. I think first things first. So let's not criticize anybody that doesn't want to play, because I've seen guys like Damian Lillard getting some pushback from some fans.
That's
I
fair,
mean,
though.
come on, like you could possibly be risking your life, and even if you're a young, healthy person, you could be risking family members' lives. And you're supposed to put your whole life on pause, not visit your family member, not visit your mom, your uncles and stuff, your aunts and stuff like that are older, just because you're supposed to risk that to play on national television. Hey, I don't blame anybody that doesn't want it, but at the same time, we're starved for something right now, and this could be something to get us through. I just think it's got to be done right.
Definitely has to be done right. G, what's your thoughts on the whole situation?
Man, I'm a gambler and I'm itching for some sports to come right back. And just to hear that the NBA is making some kind of progress to get the seasons going. But yeah, man, just like Damian Lillard said, I could respect that. Like we're talking about people going into a quarantine state, going somewhere where they can't be around their family, and let alone now they're being told like, hey, come and play, but play for what if they're not going to play for a spot in the playoffs? So with that, like yeah, like what Bryce said, like you can't really blame a player for saying no, if there's no chance of going into the playoff, and then the whole league having a debate whether to be what 16 top 16 teams.
Yes, sir.
I mean, so what happened to the Eastern and Western conferences? Like, what's up with the finals of those? Like, didn't we want to see a LA Clipper versus a Los Angeles Lakers scenario, or let's say for the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Sixers or Boston? Didn't we want to see that? And for
Yeah.
I
them
mean,
to say no top 16 teams, like, come on now, man. I also wanted to see what's up with the Grizzlies and the Pelican debate. So now are we gonna still talk about MVPs, Rookie of the Years? Are they still gonna go with that notion still? Are we gonna get those kind of rewards to be like, hey man, what's going on? That's why I'm opposed. I'm against the whole top 16 seeding. I'd rather still see the East versus the West conference, so we could have a definitive champion when it comes to like this who won the season for this year.
Good point, man. You just brought up the Pelicans, which is a pretty young team, overwhelmingly young. How do you feel about maybe the younger teams having a competitive advantage with the layoff versus the older guys who might have stayed home, tried to work, but just not in game shape? They'd have to get up to speed a little bit longer.
Yeah, now that's a good point, man. That's actually a great point. And it makes me think even further, too, like not even just the young guys who are going to be able to be fresher already, but think about guys that had injuries, nagging injuries that were bothering them. There's going to be some teams that can come, full force. I think about my team right off the bat, the Wizards. John Wall saying he's fully healthy right now. Now he's saying he still won't come back, but at the same time, you can imagine that we in the ninth spot, 5.5 games back. Imagine they let they open the season and they let the couple of the teams that are out of it play themselves in. If we came back with a healthy John Wall, that changes the entire scenario for us. So you never know, man. It could be some things that like injuries, guys being younger, older guys needing time, maybe needing a little more time to get back in the swing of things that could really affect the outcomes.
I say whoever makes it out of this, they're a primed and grizzled champ. I know people want to put it like maybe there was some speculation, some people saying it could be like a asterisk attached to it, but I think it's asterisk and it could be acknowledged in a good way. Because if you make it through this, it's turmoil and trials and tribulations and basically a whole bunch of adversity. I think that's a great story of a champion. If somebody come out of this and win it, I got no issues with the champion. 1 through 16. If y'all want to allow playing, I'm cool with it. Just don't allow no bums allowed in my playoffs. You feel me? If they want to get Zion in there, I totally understand why they would want to do that. But I also think maybe to a certain extent it may not be fair. And also think maybe Dame Lillard is doing a little bit of lobbying. I think he's doing a little lobbying for that play-in because he knows his Blazers are out of the playoffs right now. And he said, I'm coming back unless I got a chance to play. So maybe they want to see him. If the NBA is trying to make things interesting, they definitely need to make things interesting with the first round. Because honestly, the first round is already kind of like it's solid, but the first round is not amazing. Second round is really where it starts to pop off. And honestly, with the layover, the first round could be extremely rough. It's just something you got to take into consideration as well when you're talking about the product out there. To shake things up, it might make things a little bit more interesting. It might help you in the ratings department. It could be interesting. It's a good time to implement the change. If they wanted to do that, the commissioner's got the juice right now. I think he could.
That's a good point. In that same vein, what do you think about some of the teams that have really good lottery position, potentially not wanting to play, not wanting to jeopardize that lottery position? What if you make your way into the 8th seed and you lose that lottery position? Is it worth it?
I think if you got really good lotto position, you shouldn't play. You got no business playing if you really on tanking for whoever next up. You know what I'm saying? Then nah, man, you shouldn't even be playing in the playoffs. Plus from a quarantine, talking about health and safety, the numbers game. 16 is a lot smaller number than 30.
Agreed. Bryce, I saw you kind of moving back there. What's your thoughts, man? Speak on it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like I can go a couple ways with it. I mean, honestly, I got to think about the injury side again. I mean, you talking about meaningless games. I can't help but think, what if one of these young guys that's playing one of these teams that would be in the lottery just comes back, pulls something? That's another thing you really got to think about as well. Is like, what's the transition process into this going to be? Because the layoff's been significant. How are they going to ease these athletes in? I mean, hey, to be honest, we might not see the end of the NBA season happen till like December or something like that. I don't know. Maybe even like October, the way things are looking. I mean, I hope they can bring it back as soon as possible. But if they bring it back without giving these teams a chance to really reacclimate themselves, the product they end up showing, it could really suffer.
That's a big point. And speaking of the product, I think I heard Charles Barkley saying that TNT's for sure saying that the NBA is coming back. So they're gearing up too. But G, how do you feel about everybody going to potentially Orlando or Vegas, and all the workers that have to be there, the medical staff, the trainers, everyone? You think that's a situation that could potentially work, or are there just too many variables?
We gotta talk about trying to get some jobs, man. Put some jobs back out in the market. So it's not a bad thing that the NBA is coming back. Now, one location that's great because you got people working again. But now we're talking about two locations. If they could pull off two locations, that's even better. You got the NBA economy going. You got people that don't got jobs working back again. You got some kind of folks getting paid to feed their family. So I can't oppose that. This is the whole point right now that we're relying on the sports, right? We're just talking about people that are trying to feed their family, let alone to sit home. Some people right now can't even collect unemployment. I get it. Some people are getting the great benefits of unemployment right now, but the people that can't, they're waiting for the season to start to work those concession stands. It's not even just work concession stands, clean the floors. You got the guys that are working into the court. You got medical staff that, hey, how about they want to get away from the COVID and they want to work the NBA games? They're not just directly in the medical field now. They're working with the players, get their mind off things. This is why we rely back in sports. I remember back then, I was looking back in the old days. Remember when World War II was going on and how our former president said like baseball's still going to play, and they still played baseball. They still had a baseball season during that year. This is to
Good
get the
point.
people mind out of what we're seeing. But sometimes we do need an escape from our reality. So I don't mind. I'm not opposed to either just one location or two. Two be better. But then again, like now we're talking about where's going to be the center point to play the finals, right? I heard rumors talking about being in Toronto is one of those places. But as long as they find a way to secure the health of those players and their employees, all of those staff members, I'm so with it.
That's a good point. I'm gonna throw this up to anybody, man. Worst case scenario, playoff starts a good series, 3-3. Let's say Lakers and let's throw Dame. Let's kick Memphis out. Let's say Dame gets there and Dame tests positive. He can't play. How does that affect the series? How does that affect everything? Does the team have to fold? Like, do they just have to forfeit it all? Or is Dame just the guy that sits out, tossing it up?
I mean, those are
I
questions
mean,
that got to be answered. Those are questions that got to be answered. I don't think they're. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is the 2-week quarantine. You've been hearing about that for these last couple months. You got to quarantine for 2 weeks. So you would think a guy had to miss a minimum 2 weeks before he could be retested. On top of that, everybody, every single person on the team, every single person on the other team, every single official, every single person that came in contact with this player would also have to be tested. So you're going down a real slippery slope unless somehow they can really get these guys not to leave the premises. It's going to be hard for this to work. I mean, think about it this way. The UFC, we've seen a few successful events now, right? Major difference is you're dealing with a one-on-one sport. You need one guy to be able to come in there ready to go and another guy to come in there ready to go. When you're dealing with teams, 14 people, there's too many variables. Like one guy that's deep on the bench can go get his little side joint, come to the hotel. Next thing you know, it's over for the whole team. So I mean, hey, this is gonna have to be evaluated because I don't know how they're gonna pull it off.
Yeah,
no, I
man.
don't think. I
Go
don't
ahead. Go
think
ahead.
if I don't think if you quarantine, I'm sure ain't no side John coming through because she ain't gonna have the credentials, and they damn sure they ain't about to let no scrub come bring in some thotty to come and play to come and mess up that money. Man, they probably even fired the poor boy. Like, yo, what's wrong with you? Are you trying to get LeBron sick? That'll be my first thing. If I'm
Can't risk
security,
it.
that'll be my first thing. I mean, you trying to get LeBron sick? Man, I'm about to escort you out this premises right now.
Big facts. Big facts.
Hey, man. It'll be rough. It'll be a rough transition, but I know
All right, but
guys are
look,
definitely. Go ahead.
hey, my bad, T. Let me throw in one thing real quick, right? The chances of them pulling this off, right, without one person ever getting COVID the entire time seems very, very low to me. Without one person involved with the entire tournament the
Can't go in with
entire
that
time,
expectation.
without one person getting it, it seems very unlikely. So there must be a plan in place. I just wonder what are the details in that plan?
I think they know though. I think they know that. I think if you're the NBA, you're embarking into this playoffs. I think you know very well. There's a good chance somebody's going to end up getting it in this period of time, and it is what it is. You got to treat it like any other injury, man. And at the end of the day, KD could go out there and tear his Achilles. You know what I'm saying? That could happen. You could be out too. You know what I'm saying? Same thing in the NFL. People didn't like the concussion protocol. You get banged in the head, like it or not, you're sitting out the rest of the game, possibly next week. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It ain't fair. It is what it is. But it's just like any other injury. You know, just like any
Yeah,
other injury.
that's also a good point. I mean, I think this is a perfect time for the NFL to sit back and evaluate, and college football as well. They're just sitting back watching and seeing what happens with the NBA, and I think what happens with the NBA is going to really impact what happens with the NFL. And just sticking with the NFL, let me kick it to Scruff real quick. There's been some rule changes, and I know that's your thing. What's going on?
Yeah, man. Honestly, talking about the NFL, man, they always try and keep things fresh in the spirit of doing things that are a little bit out of the ordinary. The NFL is coming up with something a little bit different, trying something new with the onside kicks. We all know the onside kicks rarely ever are successful as a team. You're sitting there with an onside kick, you're hoping for the best, but the percentage of recovering on onside kicks are pretty much slim to none. The NFL trying something a little bit different. It's more or less going to be like a 4th and 15 from the 25-yard line. If the team gets the 15 yards, they keep the ball in the first down where the play ended. If the 15 yards not made, the other team takes over from where the play ended. Fellas, what do y'all think about this pretty off the wall solution here for the onside kick? Is it good or bad for the game? Y'all with it or not? Geraldo, you first.
I'm so against it, man. So the NFL gonna take care of the defensive players? Like, what's going on in that? And like, you telling me how normally from going playing 3 downs to now having to have defense on the play 4 times in one possession. Sometimes they say they could get a 3 and out. You about to get the 3 and out, but then hey, here comes someone like Patrick Mahomes, gunslinger man himself. Boom, he gets those 15 yards. Now you got the defense on the field even longer. So I'm so against this by all means. Like, I think the NFL is just stretching. Like, this is eventually just about to be all offense, no defense. Let alone, like, they're already taking care of the quarterback. So I'm so against this.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna just go ahead. I love it. Look, if you don't want to play an extra down, don't get scored on. Right? Sack Patrick Mahomes on 3rd and 15. Then how about that? But I like the idea with a little bit of a twist. Make it optional because onside kicks are fun to watch. When the rare chance that it comes up in the game, it's still fun to watch. Make it optional though. Make a team pick. Let's try onside kick or let's try to go for it. I think you'll see more people going for it in the first half, towards the end of first halves, and then maybe in the second half. But also, if you got a kick you think can nail it, you go with the onside kick. I love it, and put it in the end zone. Put it 20 yards away. Don't put it 15. Make them really earn it. 20 yards. Most likely going to be a throwing play, and it's a quarterback-driven league. Throw the ball. Let's go. We need points. That's what the fans want to see. And add me up on FanDuel when I get that onside kick touchdown. That's what I want to see.
Live bets, baby.
Yes, sir.
I feel that, man. And honestly, for all the reasons that T just stated, I'm on the side of I lean towards the side of yes, but I got to play devil's advocate here too. I mean, think about the slippery slope we could be going down if we start changing the rules of a historic game like football. We could be looking at a football in 20, 30 years that we don't even know, that's foreign to us. And I think that although this rule change might be a good one, I think once we open up a game for more and more radical rule changes like that one, I don't know, man. We could be looking at a football that we barely recognize, man, that we barely even know in 10, 15, 20 years.
Hold on, quick question though, right? So you're telling me it's 4th and 15, but how about they're already at 4 and 20? You telling me you're gonna give them the extra yards to become the 4th and 15, or is only unless you're like under the 15 yard that you get the 15?
In place of the onside kick, so that means after you score. So that means if your team's down double, 2 possessions, score that touchdown, you need another score. You got that last hope. You just scored the minute left. You going for that onside kick. Instead of onside kick, you got a 4th and 15. You got a 15-yard opportunity there instead of that onside kick to keep the ball and then go in and possibly score it. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. But I don't know. I don't know about a 4th and 15 though. To me, it's just like 4th and 15. That seems too easy.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel that. I mean, it should be a little more challenging. I feel like, man, 4th and 15. It's like, I mean, you're gonna see a lot of teams taking that chance, and you might see some of these coaches that trust their offense a lot more than the defense take that chance when it might seem like it's not even warranted. So, hey, I'm with you, Scrub. That seemed a little light.
Look, I like it, man. It's more football and less special teams. And I know kickers need jobs and things like that, but I mean, don't you hate it when your team loses via special teams? a fumbled kick, onside kick, a missed field goal. Like, let's see more football. Like, let's see more offense versus defense, X's versus O's. Like, let's get it, man. Throw the football. Points.
I mean, all that's real football too, though. I don't know, like,
Who's not excited about an onside kick?
Huh?
I'm saying I'm more excited about an onside kick than you're on 4th and 15 and you get the 15 points. The onside kick is so much more thriller on the onside kick.
No, that's
talking about
fact.
the kicker getting the ball at the right point for when you're trying to get the ball before the receiving team even gets it, right?
Yeah, but it's crazy to me, man. I be thinking about that sometimes. Like, it's crazy to me that after all these years of football, none of these genius kickers never mastered the onside kick and just became the ultimate asset. Like, why did that never happen? Is it that impossible to perform an onside kick? It can't be. Somebody got to put in that practice. Somebody got to become the most important weapon of all time.
Here's another thought. Why don't they make the onside kick a little easier? They don't got to travel at least, what is it, like 10, 15 yards? Why don't you make it like a quick little 5-yard jammy and you see who got it? You know what I'm saying? You might be able to get that 5 yard, I don't know. Maybe just change it a little bit, but I don't know. 4th and 15, man. Patrick Mahomes gonna have a field day. Guys like that, 4th and 15, man. I'm an Eagles fan. 4th and 15, I'm feeling very good. If 4th and 15, I'm feeling really good about my chances, bro.
You got no receivers, brother.
What?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm feeling good about Wentz.
You're an Eagles fan. How you feeling good with no receivers? Like your best receiver is your running back.
Look, 4th and 15, man. If it was that simple, if it was that easy, why don't we see more people go for 4th and 15s? 4th and 15 is almost always a punt. And look, man, change the rule. Let's see. I like it with both options, man. Don't take out the onside kick, but just give guys, just like we saw, all right, them change the extra point. Just give guys an option, man.
Yeah, I mean, people, you're right. People don't go for 4th and 15 a lot, but it does happen, man. It does happen, man. But what doesn't happen a lot? Shoot, 53-year-old heavyweight champions coming back to fight. I mean, one thing, they getting back in shape. You're having fun, quarantine. You're getting your workouts in, Mike. But it's another thing when you're talking about making a comeback. Iron Mike, he making a comeback, talking crazy. He says he's going to announce his fight this week. Are y'all in or out on Iron Mike? Does he get y'all pay-per-view viewing pleasure? T, I'm going to start with you.
Man, I do not want to see a 50-year-old man fight. Look, you don't train all your life to keep fighting at 50. Mike, I'm glad you're in shape. You're looking healthy. You're looking good, man. You're looking ferocious as ever. But sit it down, man. Chill out. You don't. What do you got to prove? If you need the money, I think your podcast probably doing fine. Train some guys. Open up a gym. But don't go out there, man, and potentially risk your life at 53. Like, let the young guys do that, man. Mike, chill, man. You're a legend. You're a GOAT already. Take it easy, Chad. Just sit back and let the young guys work.
Bryce.
Hey, man, it's hard for me to call this one, man, because I can see it two ways. On one hand, there's some skills that are timeless, and I think the art of fighting, the art of being a fighter, is one of those timeless skills. I mean, it's something that if you've mastered that art, you know what I mean? People love to see those videos when you see the old karate master take down a young guy. People love those type of videos, because it's about that art of fighting, the fact that it doesn't matter how old you are, if you've mastered it, you got it down, you can take somebody down and you can take them out potentially. Now, on the flip side, I think that, because this has been getting a lot of pushback, people saying these guys are too old. I think that fighting is inherently dangerous, right? So you got to ask yourself, right? Am I watching this on the edge of my seat, just anticipating the worst? And if that's what you're doing, I don't think you should be watching. But if you come in to watch to see a timeless skill that never gets old, no matter how old you are, then I think you should enjoy this fight. I mean, it's going to be an exhibition, 3 rounds. These guys are not going to be trying to knock each other out. These guys are just going to be trying to show they still got it. And for that, I welcome it.
G.
Only we're getting the Vander Holyfield boy with fucking head pads on, so Mike don't try to fucking bite again. That's the only fight I want to see Mike Tyson fight. Shit, man. I get it, Manny Pacquiao past his prime, still fighting.
still whooping ass. But shit, look at Bernard Hopkins, how long he lasted in his last couple of fights. He wasn't looking pretty good, man. You pray that these guys don't end up hurt for the rest of their life taking these fights these late in their career. Let alone, man, Iron Mike is past his prime, man. I don't think he could get down below and come up with those crazy haymakers. If he's gonna fight, it better be with pads on, man. Head pads, knee pads, everything kind of pads you can imagine. Because Jesus Christ, why would I want to fight? Why would I want to watch Iron Mike fight anybody? Unless he's about to fight somebody from the block. Like, all right, a young guy from the block. All right, I wouldn't mind that. But even then, like, I'll pray for the young guy. Like, yo, bro, I hope you got insurance for that jar. Nah, man, I don't need to see that, man. I'm okay.
I wasn't expecting this. I was not expecting this, man. I wasn't expecting y'all to react this way. I thought y'all was gonna be hyped up for the Iron Mike fight. I don't know. Kind of got me feeling like y'all seen that last Rocky movie when he was fighting Tommy Guns. They need to go find. They're gonna find the Tommy Guns for him to come fight or something like that, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know, man, about Mike at this age, man. But like, I don't know. He's not coming back trying to be the champ. I know. I understand they ain't trying to come be the champ, but he is trying to put on the show. You know. End of the day, would you pay to see him fight?
No.
Would you pay? I'm not saying $100, $49.99. Would you pay to see Iron Mike fight? Come on.
Unless this is like some fundraiser. Unless it's a fundraiser and the only fee is $5.
Mike said it's all going to charity. He said all his proceeds is going to charity. That's what he said. So,
but like, unless he's about to fight Evander Holyfield, bro, that's the only fight I want to watch.
Bro, I tuned in to a slap contest for over 15 years. I'm starved for anything that screams professional. I'm like Evander Holyfield. I'm with it. I'm paying. Sign me up.
Man, I don't want to see it, but I wouldn't say I wouldn't pay for it. I mean, fight night is a great time to, it's a good vibe. Kick it with your friends, your homies. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get together, good food, good drinks. But I wouldn't be tuning in to see a real fight. I mean, look, we know in boxing what fans want to see, and I'm a fan. We want to see knockouts. We don't want to see bobbing and weaving for the most part. The majority of boxing fans want to see haymakers, headshots, knockouts. I don't think Mike has the stamina for that type of thing. Past round 1 or 2 at his age, I don't know, man. It's looking shaky, Mike.
3 rounds, though. 3 rounds. Expedition. That's it.
If it's only 3 rounds, I guess I'm in. I feel like Mike can protect himself in 3 rounds.
Where's my boy Rome at, man? I know Rome would have been with the Iron Mike. I know he would have been with the Iron Mike.
Look, come on,
that ain't Rome,
man.
But somebody trying to save Mike's life, man.
Man, you feel sound like Don King right now.
Look. Has coming back.
3 Don Kings on the screen right now. This is America. We get paid, baby. Y'all crazy.
Look, has left up there for Mike.
Has coming back worked for any athlete? Like, did it work for MJ with the Wizards? Did it work for it just
it worked for George Foreman.
Mike wasn't bad on the Wizards.
It worked for George Foreman.
It did. It worked for Jordan the first time coming back.
Shoot, it might work for
Foreman came back on the chip. Yeah. George Foreman came back on the chip at like 48.
Yeah, and that's
possible, man. You heard KG, man. Anything's possible, man.
And why doesn't KG come back?
Jason Witten came back and then he signed for a whole nother team, bro. Think he's doing good.
Jason Witten look slow as hell. You got Jason Witten out there for the locker room, man. And, maybe he definitely wouldn't be out there on 4th and 15.
4th and 1.
4th and 1, he's your guy.
4th and 1. He's out there.
4th and 1, he be blocking.
4th and 1, he's out there. He got an option to catch though. Let's believe it.
Man.
Yeah, he's definitely a legend in his own right, man. But keeping it on that same tilt, man. Let's get into some legendary stuff. We got a new segment for you all. It's called the Top 5 segment. On this segment, each guest panelist has compiled 5. Whatever the topic is. Today's topic is NBA Dynasties. We compiled 5 of the best all-time NBA dynasties, in our opinion. All right, let's kick it off with you, Scruff. Let's hit the top 5. Let's get it.
All right. This was tough in no particular order because honestly, this was a really tough list for me. But I'm gonna start it off like I said, no particular order. If you're talking dynasties, you got to talk about the Bill Russell led Celtics. Dog, we talking about 11 chips, man. Ain't no dynasty greater than that. So honestly, the competition was a little rough, but whatever. We're gonna count them as a dynasty for sure. Then I got the Jordan Bulls in my top 5. 6 for 6, gotta love it. Showtime Lakers in the 80s. Oh man, 5 championships and 9 finals appearances. They were dominant. I got the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, who low-key could beat anybody in the rest of my top 5. And then last but not least, I got the KD and Steph Super Team Warriors, rounding out my top 5.
Solid. I mean, I can't really argue with that. You got some teams in there that I don't have on mine, but most of them I would agree with. All right, G, let's kick it to you, man. Let's hit the top 5.
My top 5 in all order. I'm gonna start with the Kobe and Shaq Lakers, the last team to three-peat. After that, I'm gonna have to give you the Thunders. No, not the Thunder. I mean the Golden State. Sorry about that. The Golden State.
I was gonna say,
I'm kind of messing up. Then after that, I'll have to give you the Showtime Lakers, the Bill Russells, and then I have to give you the Spurs.
can't be mad at that. That's a solid list, man. Top to bottom. T, let's hear it.
I got the Lakers twice, like everyone else. I got the Bulls twice. I know you can consider it one long run, but I like there was a separation there. There was a period with no Mike, so I got
the Bulls.
I got the Bulls twice, and I got the Warriors. I mean, it's not really my top 5. This should be a top 10 situation because there's been so many good dynasties. The Lakers, I mean, but those are the teams that. No, man, I'm just naming the guys that I like to watch. You know, going back, looking at clips, YouTube, ESPN Classic. Those are the teams that I like to watch. My favorite dynasties. I won't say they're the best, but most entertaining to me, at least.
Solid list, man. So let me round it off, man. I got and mine is in order. And so number 1, I got Jordan's Bulls, man. I don't think there's ever been a dynasty that's really touched that. I think the documentary proved that. I think there was some flaws to the dynasty, of course, but ain't nothing perfect, baby. Ain't nothing perfect. Next, I don't know how y'all left this team out, and shame on all of y'all, man. Y'all know what team it is. Y'all got the Heat on your top 5 dynasties.
No,
Ron,
no.
D-Wade.
Not quite. I'm mention.
Hey, look, y'all out of your mind, man. They on my list. Not only they on my list, they
should have been Dallas.
They're number 2 on my list because I've never seen anything like the spectacle that was D-Wade and LeBron flying down the court together. Unbelievable basketball. Number 3. Number 3, man, it's Showtime, man. You can't have a list like this without including the Showtime Lakers. Possibly 2 players you could say are the best all-time basketball players on the same team. And you got to have them up there. Then Kobe and Shaq, who knows what this team could have been? I feel like this is the one that could have been one. You know what I mean? It just circumstances didn't allow that. And my final, shout out to Pop, man. Greg Popovich Spurs, man. The perfect balance of all type of basketball personalities. You had a guy from everywhere around the world all being meshed by this crazy mad scientist that was Popovich. That was one of my favorite teams growing up because after Kobe and Shaq got into it a little bit, I kind of hopped off of them, man, and I started really rocking with the Spurs. And like the Spurs growing up, man, that was one of my squads, so I had to include them.
Okay, that's fair.
No Heat.
No Heat, man. That artificial.
It would have made my top 10 for sure, bro.
Look. LeBron proclaimed they was going to win 5, 6, 7. They fell short of that. I'm not including them. Maybe I'm a LeBron hater, but I'd rather see some of those other teams.
Was that not some of the best basketball of all time, though? Honestly.
Oh, it was great. It was great basketball, man. Especially that team with Ray Allen. They had a great team. Honestly, if it wasn't for the 11 championships, they would have been in my top 5. But I don't know, say what it is, but dog, I can't not put a dude with 11 rings in my dynasty conversation. I don't care who the heck he was playing. I gotta put him in my dynasty conversation. But you know what I'm saying? The Heat, especially when they had Ray Allen, they had a team, boy. They had a team. I'm surprised nobody no love for the Rockets, no love for the Larry Bird era Celtics. Nobody was feeling them.
So you had the Showtime
Outside looking
Laker.
in. Outside
Like, who
looking in.
you pick, Showtime Laker or the Larry Bird?
Well, obviously,
Who's
personally,
better?
I mean, I would take the Showtime Lakers, obviously, because they won more chips in that. When they were going head to head, the Lakers had the edge. So, you know,
Yeah, answer your own question there.
but that's
And then in
a tough
Houston,
conversation.
you had Jordan. Like, once Jordan came back, who was talking about Houston?
Good point.
Hey, you know,
That's true.
I was a Houston fan during that small run. Sam Cassell and Hakeem and those guys, man. It wasn't a dynasty, but it was a hell of a team.
Yeah,
Close. It was close. They was close to being able to call themselves that.
Miami Heat is what the Bad Boy Pistons were for between the 80s and the 90s, bro. That's what Miami Heat remind me of.
Bro, I can't
That's why I
believe
can't
nobody
call
else.
them enough. Yeah,
How do
bro,
you
because you only won 4. You only won 2, and you went to 4 finals. You lose to the Mavericks, which you should have won.
Bro, that Mavericks team, come on, that was a great team, bro. Great
Yeah,
team.
but the LeBron team was a lot better still.
LeBron, they literally had
LeBron.
3 guys. That first run, they was doing it with 3 guys and filler players. It was LeBron,
Bro, that's all you needed, bro.
Wade, everybody else
You
was
had a healthy D
league
Wade.
minimum. League minimums.
Bro, you had the healthiest D Wade he ever had his entire chip run. Was that D Wade?
I mean, D Wade's arguably a top 5 shooting guard. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
D Wade got it done before Braun. You know, before Braun came out there.
Hey, that's still the best. I mean, not to say he didn't get it done because he got it done, but he had Shaq that was just creeping out of his prime at the time, and Shaq was still a dog, bro. Still a crazy force, man.
Wade carried that team.
Yes.
He did.
Definitely in the finals.
He carried Shaq.
He did.
Definitely in the finals.
Big time.
I mean, I respect that Heat team.
Through
But
the playoffs, Shaq was balling.
He was looking like he was losing.
Finals D Wade went stupid. Finals D Wade D Wade was going stupid all year. Don't get me wrong, but finals.
That's when he became
splash.
Right. It was some Jordan comparisons thrown out during that run. I mean, the guy was looking amazing, man. Flash.
He had that it factor. He had that certain it factor. You know what I'm saying? If you know Jordan's trainer, Tim Grover. I got to shout out Tim Grover right now. He may be part of the historic flu game pizza story. I don't know if it's true or if it's not. Only Tim knows the truth. But Tim did also train Dwayne Wade. And one thing he said about D Wade, he had that mentality. He described it as a cleaner's mentality, more or less. Hey, if it don't get done, I'm gonna get it done. Period.
Bro, I mean, I agree with y'all saying about D Wade, but let's not forget, Shaq got to Miami and they made him like the mayor of the city, bro. Like he changed. Like I get it. Don't get me wrong. D Wade was a dog, but Shaq was it was more to me. Shaq was more of a reason why that team was what that team was. Let's not get it confused, bro.
I'm gonna kill your debate with that, bro. Because think about it. That's the only championship that Shaq doesn't defeat that someone else won it besides him. The 3 with the Lakers, Shaq is defending his dominance. But the one with the Heat, he don't say nothing. He just say that's all Wade. So with that being said,
I remember that era so vividly, bro. D Wade was a dog, bro, but Shaq was still a 2010, 2012 guy, and still very dominant. Very dominant. This wasn't Celtic Shaq, bro. This wasn't
When the Phoenix, when the big cactus.
Was it a Phoenix Shaq?
It was a big cactus, bro.
Nah, man. Nah, it was not. Nah, no disrespect, man. Honestly, he deserved to get the respect and the type of reception he got from Miami. Because, man, honestly, when you talk about Miami getting Shaq at that time, bro, you talking about the Lakers dynasty. I think we all had them in their top 5, if I'm not mistaken. Dog, how many more chips could that Lakers team have won if Shaq stayed on the Lakers? They traded Shaq And more or less, he was older than Kobe. Yeah, Kobe was way younger. But Shaq still was in his prime. Shaq, they traded like 5-6 players for Shaq, man. It was like tons of players. Karan Butler, Lamar Odom. They traded like half the squad for Shaq and some picks. Shaq getting traded was like literally one of the biggest stars getting traded. Yeah. And it was huge. It was huge. He still was, he was still the big Aristotle and all that when he first got the shots out.
And one thing, man, we know this term gets thrown around all the time, man. This give people their flowers. And I think with Kobe's untimely passing, man, it became even more apparent, man. But Shaq's another one of those guys. I feel like he doesn't get that everyday credit he deserves, man. Like they talk about him, and part of it's because of the brand he's become. Part of it's because of the way he's marketed himself. But this guy's a basketball player, man. Was to the young generation that didn't get to watch him, just sees him on TV, like to express what he was is very hard to put into words, man. It was damn near unstoppable. It was unstoppable. It was unstoppable. It's the most unstoppable thing I've ever seen, man, in basketball.
That's a fact. Most dominant, might be one of the most dominant players that ever played the position, played the game. It was almost like we know LeBron's dominant. He imposes himself on the game at all levels. But Shaq's domination, man, it had people trying to find the next Shaq, man. There's no reason big country Brian Reeves should be in the NBA. But, just trying to find a big 7-foot, 300-pound guy to just give you a little bit of what Shaq is giving, and that's how Steph created a copycat league. Shaq created a copycat league. When you're great and you're dominant, that's what happens. And Shaq does deserve his flowers.
You can't find the next Shaq. Guys like Shaq just come around. They just come around. Honestly, probably not that they're the same. This is a new generation, so the game is changing. So players are changing. But like I said, in a way, I'm not going to feel me on this, but Zion is in a way a Shaq in a sense. He's not Shaq. He's not a center. He's not, low post banging out all day. But in today's small ball game, to me, he is kind of a Shaq prospect in a way. He's more of a unique, unicornish kind of skill set. But, I don't know. Shaq's
No, I agree. I think when you're drafting, when you're looking for guys now, you're going to try to find a guy that's comparable to Zion. Even if he doesn't have the skill set, you're going to want a size and speed freak. All right, well, that.
I mean, to the youth, if we're going to talk about Shaq, just YouTube 80 Shaq and how he used to just hang his nuts on every center that came around the post. The reason why they had to put some steel on that backboard because the way he would just break the glass, Mr. Nuts to your face, Mr. The reason why nobody wants to be posterized was Shaq.
Nah, man, Shaq, especially young Shaq. Shaq went through some of the craziest transformations because young Shaq was like an athlete, man. Shaq could have low key went like the Ant Davis route if he would have honed his skills in that way, because at the time when he came out and you see that athleticism, the way he could move, it was ridiculous. And it ended up turning into something so big and massive and dominant that it was just like, man, once he just literally steps in the paint, it's a bucket, bro. Like that, it used to be crazy, man. Then when he got the little drop hook, when he came back with that little drop hook, when he got to the Lakers, man, it was like, oh man, this dude, Shaq was and I know they used to call him lazy, whatnot, man, whatever, man. Like Shaq would probably say, man, when you're that dominant, there's certain things you don't gotta work on. And he worked on what he had to, but let's make sure we get that man his flowers for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Shaq, one of my favorite players, man, of all time, for real. One of the most dominant for sure. Man.
Bro, this has been like the most random Shaq rant of all time. Like this was an unplanned Shaq rant.
It's worth talking about though, because if we talking about these top fives, if you gonna put them in the if you really was all right, let's say we talking about these top fives that we all name, right? We put them in a bracket. The Lakers, to me personally, the Lakers team is the most hard matchup to go against because out of all them dynasties, I don't know who's sticking Shaq, man. Even the Lakers, maybe the Showtime Lakers probably match up the best with them because at least they had Kareem. But
Kareem was kind of skinny though, bro. Shaq would be probably dominating.
Real talk, the Miami Heat teams, bro, they wouldn't have nothing for Shaq.
Shaq couldn't guard Kareem though, but I don't think Kareem could guard Shaq either.
See, and that's the thing with Shaq, man. Every shot was high percentage. It was a dunk. It was a little baby hook, a little sweeping hook through the lane. He would be hard to defend any era, any generation. And when they talk about centers, man, I got Shaq at one. I know we can talk about Hakeem and a lot of other guys, Wilt, but Shaq is the one for me at center.
Think about Shaq's nickname, the Diesel. That should tell us a lot.
Yeah, nah, I think I'm with you, T. I think Shaq might be my number one center too, man. The only guy I wish I could have saw to really dispute that is Wilt Chamberlain, man. Like the fact that I ain't get to see Wilt kind of irks me because, like, from all the stories I hear, man, this guy Wilt was unreal. But Shaq, man, he got to be my number one.
It's funny you say Wilt though. The funny thing is about Wilt, and I also didn't grow up in that era, so somebody from that era need to come in and check me and let me know what's up. But from what I heard from old heads in the era, man, that came up in the era, it doesn't really make much sense. We're talking about Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain put up stupid numbers, right? So people look back and they say, man, Wilt was one of the greatest of all time. But in that era, just like when we look at this current era, we know what's what with certain guys. Bill Russell dominated Wilt on the regular. That was the same era that Bill Russell won 11 championships. So how is Wilt Chamberlain the best center of all time when he wasn't the best center in his era? How the heck was he the best center of all time? He was the best center of his era. He got.
Well, you gotta remember,
how are you the best center? You got another dude winning 11 championships in a row on you, dog. I know there was some layovers in the years, but yo, if you the best center, ain't nobody dominating the league like that on you. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you sound like one. You know, if you use that argument, then you can never support LeBron with that argument, right? It was all about the championships and how you won. And I think what happens with a lot of people from our era, man, is we start to think that this era was so much weaker, but that was literally the era of the big man. Like, you know, and we talk about the best big man of all time. All the big men, all the legendary big men come from that era. You know what I mean? So it's like this guy Wilt wasn't just playing nobodies. And Bill Russell, do you know the names of the guys that was on Bill Russell's team?
Yeah,
I mean,
Bob
you had
Cousy, John Havlicek.
Yeah.
Let's list them. You know what I mean? So it's like there's some things that it's like I don't know, man. I feel I can go either way. On top of that, Wilt Chamberlain, a lot of people say he spent his best years not in the NBA. He was in the ABA. You know what I mean? So it was some different times, man. Some very different times. But from what I've heard from the old heads, that Wilt Chamberlain was something that was unreal, man, at that time, and that he could do it all. You talking about a guy that scored 100 points, averaged 30 rebounds, bro? Like, you grabbing every board, bro? Like, come on, man. Go back and look at some of those stats when Wilt played Bill Russell. It'll blow your mind.
Hey, look, man. All I know about Wilt is he put up some numbers off the court too, and that's got to be respected. You know, so he will always be a great to me. and if you really know what's going on, they say Shaq put up some comparable numbers himself. So, you know, 1 and 2.
He was in Florida twice, so I wouldn't doubt it.
Exactly.
Oh man, why y'all trying to get my man Shaq caught up? He ain't being.
They ain't right, man. They ain't right.
Hey, man.
Google Shaq and hoops. And I'm not talking about basketball.
Hey, go ahead, bro. Shout out to man. That's a guy.
Shout out to Diesel.
Oh my.
Yeah, man. So, hey, but one thing for sure, man, this is a segment that you all can be expecting to come. So definitely stay tuned. You know what I'm thinking for next week, fellas? I'm thinking top 5 NBA teams to never win a championship. So we went dynasties of all time. How about next week we go top 5 NBA teams that never brought home the big trophy? So that's what we'll do for that top 5, man. So we get into the end.
Can I put the Knicks there?
I don't even know if they'll make that work, but if that make you happy, bro.
They won one since the 70s. I can't stand the Knicks. I'm a Knick hater. I'll say it here.
Let's just leave them off any top 5 list, unless we're doing top 5 worst.
Right. Worst managed
teams.
Knicks
fan, how does it feel? You still putting this guy on?
So crazy. Stop it.
We get into the end of another great episode, man. Appreciate everybody for checking us out. If you haven't yet, go download the app, man. Go to your app store, type in Gas Network. And don't only download it, 5-star it, man. Support the gang. You see us out here working. We're trying to give you all that up-to-date sports content, that raw take, that stuff that nobody else is really giving you, man. We not over here with the shirt and ties. You know what I mean? We rocking
Not at all.
We rocking our stuff. You know what I mean? Support the gang at GoodAssSports, Gas Network, in the App Store. Anything else to add, T?
Yeah, man, grab us on the podcast, Spotify, Anchor, like wherever you listen to your podcast at, you can reach us. We're out there. It's a good way to once the commute starts going up, man. Once we get back to work, once everybody streets open back up, hey, add us to that commute rotation, man. It's a good listen. You won't find anything like this out there for the culture. And let's just close it out, fellas. It was a good show today. Sports for the culture.
Yes, sir.
Sports for the culture.
Culture.
Deportes para la cultura.